11 Uhr pünktlich. Ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome to our second South America web conference. For who does not know me yet, my name is Philipp Ernst and I'm in charge for South America business of Rödl & Partner, including 3 own offices in Brazil and our coordination with the GPSA partners in South America. Rödl & Partner, as you know, is the biggest German professional service firm. We are one firm with around 110 offices in 50 countries. However, we serve our clients already in more than 120 countries, basically all over this world with German quality. How this works, we have in the countries where we don't have own offices yet, qualified German professional service alliance member firms built up, which build kind of the outer ring, if you like, around the one firm of Rödl & Partner. Right now, I'm sitting together with our GPSA assistant, Tamiris de Borber, in our studio Atlanta, based in our regional head office next door to the German Chamber in Sao Paulo. After our successful kickoff last month, our flight today will take us to Chile and Peru, the South American gateways to the Asia-Pacific. During the flight, so to say, all participants are automatically muted and it's not possible to share videos. This is just to ensure a stable stream for you. But we encourage you, please, to answer your questions via the question function. You should know this probably by other tools or other webinars that you participated. There is a question function. We will see your questions. I will moderate it also with the panelists, and we'll take them at the end. We have reserved time at the end of the web conference to take your questions. Yeah. Special thanks at this stage for the sponsors of this event and for the great support for everybody here, Latin America Verein, AHK Chile, AHK Peru, and we have really today a first-class panel lineup that will be introduced here soon by Tamiris de Borber throughout the conference. As we speak, guests are still tuning in, but we're almost 100 participants already. I think we are ready to go. And now it's my honor to hand over the word to Orlando Berguero, who worked in different Latin American markets and is currently based as a general manager in Hamburg. Orlando, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Philip. As Philip mentioned, I'm Orlando Berguero. I'm the general manager of the Latin American Business Association based in Hamburg. A bit to the association, for over 100 years, we are connecting entrepreneurs, companies from Germany with Latin America. Our main goal is always to ensure a smooth business environment, good connections, good contacts, and get great information to all our members and friends. I'm very happy to see that almost all panelists are members of the Business Association, which makes me very, very proud and happy. So a bit about our topic. When I first saw the invitation and discussed the teams, I thought it was a great opportunity to discuss both countries in one panel because they share a lot of communities, they share a lot of common things, and it's great. We know Chile, with its probably most stable institutional environment in the region. If you see the Easy Doing Business ranking, it's ranked first for the whole Latin America, so it's a great place. It has a very interesting starting up and innovation scenery. It's quite impressive for Latin America. And you see Peru with the highest growth of the economy of the last decades. Very interesting, a very flexible currency methods in the country, which reduces risk and make the middle class has increased. And both countries are for investors, not very difficult countries. As you see, most of the population of both countries are in the capital towns. So it's a more or less easy entry. But what have these two countries in common? We see both common countries are highly dependent on the mining sector, have both a very strong agricultural scenery and production, but most important, both countries are highly internationalized. With Chile having 26 international agreements, country with most agreements in the world, and we have Peru with 21 agreements, so both countries are well positioned and well connected in the world. The Pacific Alliance which is just a few years old, took a lot of it was impressive for all countries to observe how a low bureaucratic alliance could work, and both countries, Chile and Peru, were the main drivers of it. Colombia and Mexico shared also are part of this alliance, and Ecuador is coming in, but most of the impulses came from Peru and Chile. And this also, both countries has an eye on the Pacific side. So you're close to Asia. The presence of both countries in Asia are by far bigger than all other countries in Latin America, and also the presence of Asia in both countries are steadily increasing. So it's a place to be. It has a lot of opportunities to offer, obviously also some risk, and I hope today we learn a lot more about these two great countries. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very interesting and active participation on this web conference. Thank you very much. Back to you, Philipp.
Yes, thanks so much, Orlando, for the nice welcome and intro. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, now meet your co-pilot for today's flight, so to say, Tamires de Borba, who speaks perfect Spanish, English, Portuguese, and even some German. She is a business major and stepped up now as a COVID winner, if you like, yeah, because she was, some of you know her, she visited our regional head office here as our former receptionist, yeah, but now there was a space to step up, and she made an excellent job. So now we have also all the GPSM members know and appreciate her. So she is now the first time here live on stage. A bit nervous, yeah, because we have now here also changed a bit our office. Yeah, COVID has, I think, changed the way of doing business. Yeah, we are sitting here in a brand new studio, if you like. Yeah, it was our former meeting room in Atlanta that was restructured to a little digital studio. We are even now benchmarking for this. If you're interested in this, we can even be in touch with our IT manager. I think it's really a small investment, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's just so much more professional if you have now to talk more and more in the digital way. In this regard, enough said my side. Tamires will guide you through the conference, and I will at the end take care about the Q&A. Thanks. Have in that regard, fasten your seatbelt, enjoy your flight, and Tamires, please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Philipp. For me, it's an honor to be a part of GPA now, and of course, to be here today moderating this event with all of you. So I want to say thank you for the presence of all the panelists and to our audience as well. And let's begin. I would like to start by introducing Mrs. Gabriele Lotos, who is the president of the German Chamber of Commerce in Chile, being the first woman president in the 104 years of AHK Chile's history. This is a big achievement, Mrs. Gabriele, congratulations. And she's also founder and CEO at the communications firm Voxcon and the Chilean associate of the RepTrack company. She has been living in Peru and Chile for nearly 25 years. So, Mrs. Gabriele, has the business environment suffered any significant change post-social movements of October 18 last year?
Thank you, Tamires. Good afternoon to the European audience. Good morning to the Latin American audience. It's a pleasure to join you at this web conference, and I'm sure that we'll have a very fruitful session. Well, with regards to your question, I believe that Chile is no different from the rest of the world. The expectations of society towards our economic model have shifted, and concepts such as stakeholder capitalism or business legitimacy have emerged. But it's true, Chile is currently living a crisis of confidence with affect the business sector, which is partly fueled by highly visible cases of misconduct, unfortunately, with direct impact to the consumer. And this crisis of confidence was displayed throughout the social movements in Chile of October 18, which you just mentioned, showing the discontent and frustration of large part of society. In fact, a study conducted in January 2020 by the RepTrack company in Chile about the reputation of key groups of society confirmed, unfortunately, that large companies are in a very weak position as far as their reputation is concerned. In fact, the group of large companies are among the worst rated groups with only 25 points out of 100, alongside the government and the public security forces. But if you look at it from an international context, the business sector, we shouldn't forget, took a pledge in Davos and committed itself on the ethical principles that companies should follow. And allow me to quote one line of the Davos Manifesto 2020. A company is more than an economic unit that generates wealth. It serves human and social aspirations within the framework of the social system as a whole. So, in Chile, such in most parts of the world, in a scenario of coexistence with COVID-19, society and its relationship with the companies has evolved naturally, accelerating aspects that were previously requested. These have now become a must-have. And in Chile, it's no different. Today, the company sector, the businesses must focus on the protection of jobs and promotion of employment. Invest in innovation, which was mentioned before, that improves the sustainability of the product and the service offering. Flexibility in the offer of their products and services, responding to this new reality. And they have to continue to contribute to minimizing the impact of the crisis, and they're going through initiatives that relate to the business and value proposition. So when you reflect on this phenomena of crisis of confidence, which I mentioned earlier, in fact, Chile offers an opportunity to companies to differentiate themselves and gain reputation by doing the right thing, meaning acting with integrity and purpose. But I have to point out that one needs to be aware and to act according to the increased power of various stakeholder groups, such as society at large, the local communities, and of course the employees.
Amazing, thank you very much. And Chile has been known for its institutional stability. Do you foresee any change in the future, especially for the foreign investment?
Well, as Orlando mentioned earlier, Chile stands out for its solid economy, a clear institutional framework, and well-respected democratic institutions. As well, Orlando mentioned that the economic model of Chile is one of the most open, if not the most open of the world, thanks to the various free trade agreements signed with other countries. And in addition to that, Chile breathes a very dynamic business culture. And when it comes to foreign investment, foreign direct investment, Chile is the lead in South America. So that makes that in the last 15 years, German direct investment has practically tripled. Reasons: confidence in the country, political and economic stability, the opening, it's a gateway to global market thanks to those free trade agreements, the attractiveness of sectors like mining, energy, logistics, construction, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and the foreign investor receives the same treatment as national investors. So there's an active country policy to attract foreign investment. And in addition, for many companies, Chile is a testing market. So from there you hop to other Latin American countries, or it's even, thanks to its strong ties with the Asia-Pacific region, also the possibility to hop to the Asia-Pacific zone. So Chile has distinguished itself over the past 3 decades through constant growth and a very stable market economy environment. And this gives the country today the opportunity to resist the various crises with aid packages that provide liquidity and take care of the financial stability of the country, such as they promote public investment, initiatives for private investment, and the various subsidies programs to avoid major unemployment. However, Chile today is living a historical moment, but we are very optimistic that 30 years of transition of democracy are providing the solid basis to address the demands on urgent reforms that are needed in pursuit of a more equal society, such as it was displayed in the social movements in November. So let me sum it up by this. We know that we have the Chile referendum on October 25th. That definitely harbors a certain potential for conflict. But we also have the chance to discuss fundamental social issues that have simmered below the surface. They've always been there. Chile currently has a window of opportunity to make its economy more sustainable and more collaborative in the future, providing equal opportunities, hopefully based on a broad dialogue. Crucial issues need to be addressed. In the very near future, we are facing today the big problem of violence in the south, in the Araucanía, the reform of the pension fund, a taxation project for high-value estates, and we are facing next year a year of several elections, municipal, parliamentary, presidential elections. But we're aware the public and private sector is very much aware of the challenges which we're facing and the opportunities we're facing in Chile today. And they are working relentlessly to assure that the constant growth and the very stable market economy environment achieved through the past 3 decades will remain. I'm very sure of that.
Thank you, thank you. This is very positive, very nice. And what are the key areas of expertise of Conco?
Of AHK Chile. Well, we are very proud to say that as the Chamber of Commerce, we are the largest binational Chamber of Commerce with 600 members in Chile. That makes us very proud. Antje, who's with us today, she's part of that achievement, so thank you very much. We have about 140 subsidiaries of German companies in Chile, large companies such as Siemens, Bayer, Bosch, but also classic globalized Mittelstand like Knauf. Thank you, Victor Perez, for being with us today and representing the very pregnant Mittelstand. And we have a lot of long-standing investments represented in the Chamber of Commerce. The key areas of expertise of AHK Chile have all to do with the potential of a strategic alliance between Germany and Chile. So we focus on mining, energy, circular economy and sustainability, and education. We believe that education is a big part of the future success also of companies in Chile, and we have several programs focusing on technical professional education and dual professional education. In addition to that, lately we have been putting a special focus on innovation and startups. If there's some time left for me, I would like to mention 3 projects which make us very proud. One has to do with the field of renewable energies. And AHK Chile was one of the first chambers, German chambers of the world to be awarded a project on the initiative of the German Ministry of Economy for technology on hydrogen. So that's very important for us. We are very pushy on that innovation. We have also promoted a strategic cooperation agreement in mining and mineral resources, which was in fact signed by the Chancellor Merkel and President Sebastián Piñera, which allowed us to create several different mining competence centers in the context of Germany's raw mineral strategy. And thirdly, and not last, AHK Chile is the only chamber in the global network of German chambers that has been awarded a project financed by IKI climate protection funds. And this enabled us the creation of smart energy concept initiative, very much focused on agriculture. So together with our various partners and allies, we at AHK Chile are thriving to make a valuable contribution to the transition process in which Chile and Germany find themselves today, where collaboration is more important than anything else. We are promoting strongly the development of a more sustainable world in all its axes, economic, social, and environmental. That's what we're here for.
Good. Thank you very much for the perspectives you shared, Mrs. Gabrieli. And now we want to make our panel more interactive with our audience. So for that, we have some poll questions during this event for you who are watching us to participate as well. And you will see, let's start with the first question. You will see in your screen in a bit. Okay, let's launch. Okay, there we go. And the question is, why do you consider Chile is attractive for doing business? So you have 5 alternatives. You may please select the alternative that you think best suits you or your business. Okay, people are voting, and we're gonna give you some time to choose one always. Okay, let's wait a few more seconds. Now, a lot of people participating, so thank you for that. And we have over 60 of the participants. Okay, let's show the result. I'm gonna close the invitation. And the answer, the most chosen was institutional stability. So, Mrs. Gabrieli, perhaps you would like to share what you think about this result. Is that the answer you expected?
Yes, Tamaris, that's the answer I expected. That's what Chile has been building the past 30 years. As I mentioned, we all know that this is part of the success of the Chilean economy, and that's why, as I said, the private and the public sector are very much aware that they have to watch out and look out for 30 years of stability and growth that Chile has achieved, and to make sure that this crucial moment that Chile is nowadays will lead Chile for further growth and more stability, hopefully in a more equal society.
Thank you very much again, Mrs. Gabrieli. And now I would like to introduce Mrs. Antje Wandelt. For about 15 years, she was part of the management team of AHK Chile, and now she's the general manager of AHK in Peru. She was born in Berlin, and she's living and working in Latin America for over 20 years now. So, Mrs. Antje, in your opinion, which factors will help Peru to leave the actual crisis? I guess you are on mute. You can please. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamaris. Good morning to Latin America and good afternoon to Germany and Europe. It's a pleasure to be here today. But now I want to answer your question, Tamaris. The actual crisis presents a special opportunity, I think, to speak more openly about the challenges and opportunities of the Peruvian economy. After a continuous growth of the Peruvian economy in the last 15 years, the actual crisis has uncovered some deficits of this growth. A high level of informal economy, a precarious health system, incomplete infrastructure, not only transport infrastructure, also water and energy supply, but also things like a high level bureaucracy of public sector, low level of digitalization, and the absence of a continuous dialogue between public and private sector. On the other side, Peru entered this crisis with an excellent financial situation. 30% of GDP in net international reserves and only 27% in GDP in public debts. The best ranking in the region, I think. And so the Peruvian government had a solid basis to launch an exceptional rescue package at $25 billion. This is similar to 12% of the GDP of Peru. This package includes social income support to families without income, measures to improve the health infrastructure for COVID treatment, and a financial support for the private companies. The actual situation of the Peruvian economy is very heterogeneous. Agriculture, for example, could hold and also increase the export rates since the beginning of the crisis. There are some industries which shows a quick recuperation than the hard lockdown finished from May, especially mining sector, supported by increasing prices for gold and copper and an excellent logistic and security management, what is very important in the actual conditions. A lot of companies dedicated to products and services for mining industry, but also for food and health sector, as well as the fishing sector, reached or surpassed in July the monthly sales rate of the last year. It's important to mention also that after some problems on the beginning of the lockdown, the national and international logistic for the transport of goods continue to function all the time. On the other side, industries like tourism, gastronomy, and construction haven't fallen in a very deep depression. But it's also promising to see a lot of new entrepreneurships, especially small-sized companies in Peru. The COVID crisis results in never-seen impulse for the digitalization of the Peruvian economy and also of the public sector. We can observe that supply chain is becoming shorter and generate a higher gap, especially for these small-sized companies. E-commerce is becoming more common and attractive in Peru. I'm sure that we will observe in the next month a higher level of bank accounts and banking transactions. It will be a good base for a higher formalization of the retail in Peru. In the whole world and also in Peru, the workplace structure is changing and becoming more flexible. Home office, co-working, and flexible working time will get a stable place in Peru. But what about the investment future of Peru in these times? Norbert Onkebach will tell you about the project of Lima Airport. The Peruvian government wants to support the economic reactivation with a waste investment program, about 5.5 billion for 2020 and part of 2021. All in all, 21 projects. In the second half of the year, the public investment involves $1.8 billion in transit infrastructure, communication, agriculture, and housing construction. And it pretends to create 1 million jobs. It's a very good news if we are looking to the 2.3 million people which became unemployed during the lockdown in Peru. But also some rules are changing. The Peruvian government decided to manage the major infrastructure projects like government-to-government agreements. It includes the subway line 3 and 4 and the central highway, Carretera Central, from Lima to the central region of Peru. This August, the Peruvian government launched the contracts with governments of Great Britain and France for the construction of 44 regional hospitals, 75 schools, and 24 water treatment plants. And mining is the most important sector of the economic reactivation of Peru. At the beginning of August, the mining sector reached 85% of normal capacity. We estimate an investment volume of $5 billion in 2020 and 6 in 2021. As of 2022, the whole investment folder of the mining sector amounts to $42 billion. So there's a good condition, no, for the future in Peru. We see special opportunities also for the German and European companies in Peru in the mining, agriculture, energy, transport and logistic and water management sector, but also in the health sector and all kind of related products and services. There's a very special focus in productivity and security items, and also the topic of digitalization and sustainable solutions is very important in Peru. And our chamber will support us in this project. So this is what I want to say to this question. Maybe it's also important. Yesterday I had a business meeting with a friend in Peruvian businesswoman, and I learned a new slogan I like very much for Peru and for the future. Peru is bigger than its problems.
Nice. And what kind of services does the German Chamber offers to German companies interested in starting business activities in Peru?
Well, our chamber, like also the chamber in Chile, offer an interesting mix of services. But first of all, we look for a conversation with the company to become more familiar with the specific interests and needs. Then we can find out the service package we can offer. It can be a quick analysis of commercial statistic of a specific product, but also a deeper market study, for example. One of our most important services is to identify a suitable Peruvian business partner or representative for German companies. We also organize meeting agendas for potential clients, participation in fairs and conferences, also virtual now. And we try to adapt our service to the requirements of our clients. We are open, no? And for example, actually we are preparing our office for co-working space, a virtual office and working place in the office space of our chamber from January 2021. It could be interesting for the German companies which want to start a commercial presence in Peru with low cost and without bureaucracy. But also it can be interesting solution for established members and companies which want to handle a more flexible working place and share costs post-COVID.
Okay, and which are the most important challenges that the new business faces in Peru?
I want to list 4 of them. Yeah? I think the most important maybe. First, a high and oversized bureaucracy of the public sector is a problem here and a big challenge. It includes permanent changing regulations and laws for business activities. Believe me, your lawyer and tax advisor will be a very important partner for you in Peru. And I don't say it because my friend Markus Gambrax from Rödl lawyer's office is here. I can say it from my own experience. Second, it's not easy to find well-trained techniques in Peru, especially for more high-tech technologies. You have to train your own techniques. It's very important, and our chamber is also executing some programs for this kind of training here in Peru. You also have to build up a personal network. In Latin America, it's very important, a personal contact for doing business. No? Our chamber also can specially help you in the first time here in Peru to build up this network. And at last, we can say time is money normally, but in Peru it's not true. in Peru you need time. Things need time in Peru, and you have to be patient. So one of I have other slogan. It's my older than everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. So.
Nice. Okay, so now we have a second round of interaction with our audience. So I'm gonna share another question. Let's see it. Okay. There it is. Which kind of business activity are you interested in looking to Peru? So like the other one, please just select the alternative that you think is most appropriate to you. 5 options again. Okay, let's wait a few more seconds so we can have more answers. Good, we are over 50% now. Can close and share the result. The most chosen was product market. So, Mrs. Ancha, did you expect a different answer or?
Yes, it's quite similar what I expected, but it's very interesting for us to see that there also are some interest in production facility, because I think it's also a good opportunity for business in Peru, because especially because there's a very well connection with the regional market and also with the Asia region, no? The most important business partner of Peru. I see. So thank you very much for this information.
Thanks again, Mrs. Anche. Moving on now, I would like to introduce you to our third speaker, Mr. Norbert Onkelbach. He's an experienced Chief Commercial Officer at Lima International Airport with a solid history of working in the airport industry. He's German and started his international career studying in the UK. Mr. Norbert, Fraport started the concession in Lima Airport in 2001. What has been the experience in these days?
A very good morning. Pleasure to be on the panel this morning. Fraport started the concession in 2001. It's a very mature concession. The mechanisms to live our concession with the government and with our regulator are established. And when we entered the concession, basically we foresaw by 2030 we would have 18 million passengers. And that is a number by performance that we cracked already in 2015. It actually stands for the massive development in the last 20 years that the Peruvian economy has been doing. Because when you look at passenger performances, usually they are driven by the macroeconomy and prosperity within a country, and of course the tourism destination. If you look at our airport today in 2019, it had 23.5 million passengers. 55% are domestic. That is in part driven by the new middle classes that have emerged in the last years, plus the incoming tourism. 45% are incoming international traffic. So it has been a successful concession and it was better than expected. Last year's top line sales were 398 million US. Of this, to introduce the concession briefly, we pay 46% to the government of every single dollar we receive. There is no subsidiary from the government. We are a self-sustaining concession. And with the development that was so positive and cracking the 2030 number already in 2015, we had very positive engagement a few years ago that led into 2017 to the addenda number 7 of our concession agreement, that we will be here until 2041. Plus we have a unilateral option to extend until 2051. And that gives us the room to calculate and plan for the expansion of Roque Chavez.
Mr. Norbert, you mentioned Lima Airport is expanding. Could you tell us the plan for the expansion program?
According to that addenda 7 that we signed with the government, we have an obligation to bring online a new runway in October 2022. And as much as we are in the COVID situation, I must say that we are proud that last week we could announce that we have a consortium by the name of Inti Punku, which is going to build that new runway. And we selected this company and awarded the contract last week. And together with the preparational works and the tower works for the new tower, for the new dual runway system, which will increase our capacity, that has a value of $400 million. On top, what we have started to introduce with the new amount of land, the old airport, which you see, and if you know Jorge Chavez today, has 270 hectares, and the new airport premises are 935 hectares. So what we did within that, we also carved out an area which we have developed a concept which we are putting under the airport city concept. We would be, or are, the first ones to develop such a concept for an urban development plan within our fence in Latin America. We're the first ones to do that, but we believe that this is a unique opportunity as well to enter the airport land with a diversified asset portfolio, which can be in offices, logistics, retail, leisure, and so on. When you look at it, we believe the opportunity for the airport city is strong because we are very close to the city. We have to overcome a big hurdle, that is the traffic situation. The city itself, like on the road network, at politely speaking, is facing its collapse. In peak days, it's a very difficult situation to reach our airport. There are good developments underway with the metro line linking to the airport in something like 3 to 4 years. But nonetheless, we believe that once we open the new airport, we have the opportunity also in the real estate section for the airport city concept.
Mr. Norbert, you mentioned airport city as a part of a development focus. Can you explain the airport city concept and the plan for Lima?
What we did in 2018, we executed a studies with Colliers, the real estate advisor, and they teamed up basically their Peruvian office together with the UK office in London. So we looked at all the different assets and asset classes and their potential to bring development into our fence. So when we discussed that we in Callao, which is like an own constituency or an own province and city as part of Greater Lima, we asked ourselves in the very beginning, how easy or how difficult is it actually to bring offices or grade A offices into our fence? When you look at it, the city of Lima today in grade A has 1.2 million square meters of grade A offices. So we made a plan which we believe is prudent to attract investors into our fence and over the time to diversify away from only aviation related offices to non-aviation related offices, such as what you may see in Frankfurt, in Amsterdam, and in other airports like Manchester as well, where you are part of the urban development of Greater Lima. And there are some good developments happening even under the current situation in COVID, because the Ministry of Housing has declared that Callao and Lima will develop an urban development plan. That is actually, this process is being kicked off as we speak, and we take engagement into this. When you look at it from our perspective, it has indirect effects, but the connectivity to reach the airport and bring investment into your area and fence is something that we believe in.
Oh, and COVID concerns, of course, all businesses. What does it mean for the air traffic in the Latin America region?
I was expecting that question. We had 23 million passengers last year. And when you look at it, Avianca Airlines and LATAM Airlines from Chile or Brazil as a holding, they're all under Chapter 11. They're basically reorganizing their companies, and we expect that there's going to be less fleet because we will have a dip of less passengers going forward, and our industry needs to go through this. But I must say again that we are happy to continue our expansion program. The next years will experience like a dip in the performance, but I expect we will come back to the previous levels.
And talking about that, when do you see the traffic coming back to the levels of the last year, and what in your view is driving this traffic?
Right. Of course, that is the $1 million question. We believe, and we have been doing a lot of scenarios for that internally. And when you look into the industry, it came from a V-shaped curve to a U-shaped curve into an L-shaped curve. I think that concerns us all in business of how our business is going to return to the new normal. We believe by 23 to 24 to be able to reach that level of around 23 million passengers. That of course is depending on how the airline industry is basically consolidating. We expect that year next year. 2021 is a consolidation year for the aviation industry, for all of us, where we will see how much fleet will be on the ground and in the air over the years, and we are all dependent on this basically.
Thank you for your answers. This industry has been so affected, and we all hope that it can recover as far as possible. And let's go for another poll question now. Now we want to know. Okay, let's launch. And how much business travel do you plan for your company in 2021? And what purpose of business is that? So for this one, you have 4 options. And let's wait a little bit until we have a lot of participants. Thank you again for your interaction. Okay, a lot of people voting. That's very nice. Well, I think we have a champion. And okay, let's share the result. And the most chosen is essential business travel. Mr. Norbert, would you like to share what you think about this result?
It's encouraging. We believe there is necessary travel to be done in the business section, because I mean we are all postponing like some decisions and contract signatures and going further with our businesses. So I was expecting it, and thanks very much. Thank you very much. But it's very encouraging. 63%. I was not expecting that high value.
Yeah, it was the majority for sure. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Norbert. And moving on now, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Victor Paris, who was born in Germany with Spanish roots. He started in the Knopf Group in Germany in 1997, and currently he's leading the development and investments of American continent, actually based and living in Chile. His main task over the last years was the market development and company establishment for Knopf in a different environments, focused in the business sector of producing and selling dry construction building materials. Mr. Paris, why the decision was taken to invest in Chile, being a smaller sized market?
Thank you very much for introducing me and for having me, and hello to all the audience. That's a good question. Yeah, Chile looks, of course, as a small country, very far down, South American. But we have in our sector different decision drivers, and one of those KPI is the consumption of square meter per capita of gypsum board. And Chile has one of the highest worldwide, even on the European level. So one decision driver was to have a very good base market locally. Yeah, just to give you a number, we have around 3 square meter per capita of consumption. So this is compared to Spain, Italy, or even Germany. The second decision driver was the superb connection to Asia-Pacific and along the Pacific coast up to Northern America, and the free trade agreements with those areas. So we see Chile as a hub, as a Latin American hub to Asia. And just to give you also some numbers of freight, the freight advantages, we have around $550 to Hong Kong or to Singapore. So which is a very good freight, which we are trying to use it for the future. Actually, we are shipping from Greece material to Asia, so it's a much higher freight cost than from here. And I mentioned already the free trade agreement, the Pacific Alliance, and as well the economic complement agreement from Chile with the Mercosur, which helps a lot in the trade in the own area here in Latin America from Chile. The third decisional driver for us is the access to the raw material. Yeah, we mainly use gypsum, perlite, limestone for producing our products. So we have everything in front of the door, so to say, which is very comfortable. And the last one, what was already mentioned by Gabriele, is the strategic requirements to establish a business, which is very easy, politically, economically very stable. You have a regulatory frame, which is perfect with administration, freedom, and easiness to open the business. You have little corruption. You have corruption, but you have little corruption, yeah, compared to others. You have a good talent working force, the adequate infrastructure, and you have also for local business the highest IED, so a direct foreign investments in the region, which makes an easy business for us here in Chile.
And Mr. Paris, is Knauf investing currently in Chile? And if so, what are the reasons to do it during this pandemic situation?
Yes, we are currently investing. We have, let's say, worldwide, we have over 200 producing sites, also in Latin America. But we took the decision years ago to invest, like 3 years ago, to invest in Chile in another plant mainly for the salmon board production. It's a small investment, it's 15 million euro, but we thought to complement this investment also with other, let's say, other areas of our dry construction business. So it lifts up around 200 million euros. And yes, there are changes in the business due to COVID. But when we took the decision 3 years ago, yeah, we are like an oil tanker. Once we take the direction, it's very hard to change. So we thought that at the moment, cash is king, absolutely. So we continue with investment, but we had to downsize or to save money. And we did it to have more local sources using Chilean suppliers, like for our silos, etc. Then we thought initially just to serve from Chile Latam, but due to the possibilities of Chile, we are going also now into the direction Asia-Pacific, even to the US market from here. And we are investing also and not changing because we have a social responsibility. Meaning, yeah, we have 4 values. Our Knauf values are partnership, commitment, entrepreneurship, and the last but not least is Menschlichkeit, yeah, humanity. And in this part of the world, humanity is very necessary. You have social differences, big ones, even in Chile. And those humanity or Menschlichkeit is not only towards our people, but also to the people living here. So we decided to stay and push this project forward.
And in your opinion, what does it need to understand the market country conditions and to be successful?
That's a good one, a very good one. And reminds me a bit of my childhood. I'm born in a little town in Poppenweiler. It's called Poppenweiler, close to Ludwigsburg in Stuttgart. So I'm a so-called Spanier Schwab. Yeah, and in this area where I grown up, you get very sensible for culture and behavior. So that's perhaps why I'm a construction. I don't know. But leaving jokes apart, understanding the Latin American culture is key to success. there is no, let's say, Latin American culture itself. It doesn't exist. Every country is different. You have to deal different in every country, and this means that your business decisions might not be the same for Chile or Peru. They're absolutely different. You have common things, but not all of them. So I give you an example. We had to change our product portfolio for the Chilean market, which is totally different to Europe. We had to change the system. We had to change products because the market is sensitive in a different way. Also, we had to look for help, for local help, to get this sensitiveness sorted out. So, of course, we used AHK in Chile, and of course, lawyers are very important. So, Philipp Ernst was a great help for us and is still a great help. And the second advice is you have to speak the language. Yeah, we have to say that Chile is maybe not the best country to speak English. There is a little percentage speaking English, but if you speak Spanish, you get into the networking with what was mentioned already by Antje, and this is also key to success.
And is there any aspect of social responsibility involved behind the decision of investing in Chile?
It is. I mentioned it before in what I said with Menschlichkeit, humanity, and here I can give you an example with the current status of our investment in the Greater Santiago, Chile. So we took the decision 3 years ago to invest, and we found a plot 30 hectares in the south of the metropolitan region. The sector is called Puente Alto. And it might be one of the most dangerous areas in Chile and of the city itself. So we had to deal at the beginning with people living on our plot, with a crime scene in the area. And what we did is we faced and we contacted the municipality, the mayor, of course, but the most surprising, let's say the boss of the suburb of Puente Alto. Yeah, it sounds like a movie, but it is like that. And by doing so, you get into those community. And what we offered was a bit extra, meaning we committed to build some playgrounds in the region, put some street lighting, or put some asphalt on some streets. So this helped to get in contact with those populations. And suddenly we were some insiders. We were no foreigners anymore. And this helped a lot to keep things calm and push the investment forward. So it's a sort of social responsibility and involvement in the area.
Well, this is amazing. And what is the Chilean perception of German companies?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah, the made in Germany is still has a high degree of respect in Chile. Yeah, so people like German products, are well aware of the quality of the German products. But, and this, our employees also, they know that if they work for a German company, they have to act very independently. They have to follow certain rules. Yeah, very structured rules. The time is very important. So this is known, and to work rationally and pragmatically. So I would say the German standards and German values are very high respected.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Peres, for your invaluable answers. And thank you to you and Knauf Group for caring that much about social responsibility. And here we go to our last but not least poll question. You can see already the question on our screen. Okay, so now we want to know the language, geographic situation, and the size of the market in Chile for you. So you have 5 options now again. Please, you may vote. Let's give a couple more seconds now, so we can have more answers. Okay. It's a very rough votation, but let's share the result. Okay, I close the votation. And the winner is for 1% more, is an interesting option of potential new market. So, Mr. Paris, perhaps you want to say something about this result. Is that something you expected?
A bit unexpected, I would say. It depends a bit on which kind or which sector you are in. Yeah, it's like Gabriele said, energy may be a new sector. Yes, we're investing in, but also for traditional sector, it might be also good to be here. I'm a bit surprised, yes, but goes into the direction.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Paris. And now I would like to introduce you to Mr. Philipp Ernst. He's a Chilean attorney at law and member of GPSA with diplomatic and academic background. Has lived, studied, and worked in Germany and Switzerland, and has a vast experience assisting German and Swiss companies doing business in and with Chile. Mr. Ernst, considering its location and the small size of its internal market, why would Chile be attractive for German, Austria, or Swiss companies to invest and to set up a branch office in the country?
Thank you, Tamiris. Good day to everyone. Good afternoon in Europe. Good morning still here in Chile. This is a very good question that has been partly responded by previous speakers. I don't want to repeat unnecessarily, but I think the most important reason that has based foreign investment in Chile is its political and economic stability along the years. It has been proved for over 30 years as a strong and working democracy, reducing poverty rates at a very high speed for Latin America. There's a good level of education of its population, even when we require now to improve it a little more. It has, as informed before, it has a strong network of free trade agreements with the whole world. As Orlando mentioned, I think also that's the biggest network any country has in the world, with covering free trade with other regions. It's a gateway, like the name of this webinar. It's a real gateway to Asia-Pacific region. Our main foreign partners are based in that region. Trade, which makes trade a very significant part of our life. We live from trade. Being a small country located at the end of the earth, trade has become our tool to survive and develop. What should I say also? Within the region, we have a privileged relationship with Peru, with Colombia, with Mexico, the Pacific Alliance, and with our other neighbors in South America. But for instance, just to show a bit why should it be attractive in spite of its small size, in many cases I have witnessed some middle-sized company comes here. If it succeeds, it will almost automatically jump and come to Peru with great success as well. So there's a common understanding in the region of business, of free market economy, and the ways of doing business. So if you once you've been here and you see, well, it's a small country with 18 million people, but you are forgetting Peru with much more. So more than double your market. If you're successful, you immediately will go there successfully. Those are the key elements I consider to answer your first question, Tamiris. Thank you.
Thank you. And in this sense, which, in your view, are the key elements for a long-term and successful business for foreign companies in Chile?
From my point of view, because I've been witness of successes and failures of foreign companies, I think testimony of Mr. Victor Perez was quite valuable in this sense, because even the language is not enough, in my view, because you might come with knowledge of fluency in Spanish, but then there are local codes, cultural codes that you need to capture, you need to manage in order to insert yourself and your business in the country. So it takes some time. It's a matter of patience, like everywhere, I guess. But the language is basics, of course. It's basic. But then more than the language is understanding the culture of the country. Mr. Perez lived here. Well, he clearly speaks excellent Spanish, but he lived here some years ago, many years ago, just before, I don't know, 20 years ago, I guess. And so he knew already from Chile. He was able to speak, to understand our ways in a much faster and effective way as somebody who has never been in the country before. I guess this applies to every country, but this is something I have noticed. And not trying to do things as they've done somewhere else. So to say, to adapt. Success comes from adapting yourself and not trying to require or imitate the rules that apply somewhere else on different cultures. These would be, in my case, two cultural elements that could help in success. Regarding services or products, I think it's what I have seen in my practice is that providing some niche services and products of high quality may be very successful in this country, and from here, I said, expand within the region, and carefully look for the team and the employees and staff you will have. Those would be, in 2 or 3 words, the main elements I have seen in common in those who succeed here. Yes.
And in addition to the traditional sectors such as mining, agriculture, timber, renewables, wines, and etc., in which fields do you see good opportunities for future investments in Chile?
One field that had been developing before COVID and now has boomed during these times is undoubtedly the digital services. Digital services now for a country as ours are becoming important as export services. We are exporting $4 billion a year and digital services, which is quite a lot, since the country is not known for these services, but and it's funny, video games is the most sold and exported digital service in the country. But I have good news. I mean, some recent events can strengthen these views, in the sense that last June 11, Chile, New Zealand, and Singapore signed a very interesting agreement, which is called DEPA, D-E-P-A. That means Digital Economy Partnership Agreement, which was signed digitally. And the idea is to provide these smaller economies with a framework of rules, common rules, to work and export. And if you see the direction, Chile going eastwards, westwards to the east of the world, to New Zealand and Singapore, providing precisely digital services. And at the same time, during the last weeks, the decision was taken in Chile to construct this optic fiber submarine cable going directly to Australia, which will improve and fasten digital services at really at a very good rate. That means that digital services would be, and is, in my views, without being an expert on the matter, a fast-growing and interesting area of development for future businesses.
And one curiosity now, in your work as legal counsel of European companies in Chile, which are, in your experience, the most significant elements or services that your clients request or expect from you?
Well, of course, going besides the typical and normal expected good professional services, timely services, priced at normal rates. I think, in my experience, being a small company and having always worked in a rather small business environment, which has always been commented by clients, is that it's important to serve, to provide personal services, personalized services. Having lived in Germany, understanding the language, it's easier for me to understand what clients expect, and to provide them with the right advice, in the sense that things probably are a bit different here than what they expect. So to say, to provide them with a soft landing, understanding the culture, understanding the rules, the timings. I think it was said by Gabriele and Victor before, time is different here. So it's not that it's bad or it's good, it's different culture, different timing. So, and Angie mentioned it as well. Those elements are important. I think clients value very much this close and permanent assistance to all their, because they have all sort of needs at the beginning, from the personal ones, the visa things, their kids from school, to the bigger ones. So the more we can care for them, the more they really appreciate, and clients. And this brings slowly what is, after all, what they're looking for, that is trust. And trust is constructed a long time. It's not just a matter of magic. And trust means that if you are trusted and you are the legal counsel with SMEs, normally I have also been lucky to become friend of my clients, and then relationships, you know, they last a long time, long-term relations what they are expecting for, and the way I like to face my work. This is my personal experience, at least.
Thank you. Thank you very much for incredible answers, Mr. Ernst. And now I will introduce you to Mr. Marco Scambrax, also a GPSA member, German lawyer with a Peruvian graduated title, and by origin from Berlin. He's living for 10 years now in Peru and has been coordinating for 10 years the German desk in the Peruvian law firm Rödl Abogados. Mr. Marco, what are the main mechanisms to guarantee investments by foreign companies in Peru?
Hello, Tamaris. Thanks for presenting me. And good evening, good afternoon. Hello to everybody who's listening us or watching us. Well, the main mechanisms for to save the inversions, the foreign inversions in Peru. I mean, from the 90s, of the decades of the 90s, Peru implemented some mechanisms. And some of them are the principle of the equality of the foreign inversion between, I mean, the equality between the foreign company and the Peruvian company. Also, that the foreign companies can transfer their money into Peru and outside from Peru as they want without limitations. Of course, always via bank transfer. Yeah. And also, they can submit in case of conflicts. They can submit on international arbitrations in New York or wherever they want, yeah, to have a real good legal security. And finally, there's a possibility to have an agreement, a legal agreement with the government, in case a foreign company plans to invest at least $5 million into Peru. So they can sign a contract, and for a certain time, maybe 10 years, they can stabilize all the legal and tax environment that exists in this moment when they sign the contract. So they can trust that nothing changes, and they have sure good plan to calculate their incomes.
And Mr. Marco, what are the major investment projects that the government of Peru is thinking of to implement in a short term?
Oh, well, some of them also Antje mentioned. And the biggest one at the moment, also the oldest one, is a gas pipeline at the sewer from Peru. It has an investment of $8 billion. Yeah, and it was contracted by Odebrecht, but because the corruption affairs with Odebrecht, all the contract was resolved by the government. And now the government plans to licitate again this project in this year, in 2020. I mean, we have 6 months more, or 4 months more, and I don't know if they will get it. The time really slowly, as we already told here in Peru. The other one is the project, the Lima Metro 2. Yeah, it's in the moment in construction. But it takes also a long time. They are constructing now, I don't know, for 8 years, and it takes a lot of time because of a lot of municipalities are involved about the expectation of land. All of this takes a lot of time. Yeah. The other projects are the lines of Metro 3 and 4 for investment, a total investment of $10 billion. Yeah, and these, as Antje also mentioned, these projects will be contracted by G2G. I mean, governments to government. Yeah, and Peru had a lot of good experience with this kind of contracts during the Pan American Games. All of the public projects, the stadiums and so on that they constructed were constructed by this kind of contracts, and it was really fast. And they hope now using this kind of contracts, maybe the projects that they are planning are going faster to be resolved and really faster to be constructed. Tamires.
Good. And Marco, what are there any limitations on the entry of foreign currency in Peru?
No, there are no limitations. As I already said, they can transfer their investment as they want. There's no limitation. Also, they can take off their dividends and utilities. Of course, they have to pay taxes. Yeah, but it's normal. Yeah.
And is there any limitation for foreigners to hold shares in a Peruvian company?
Yes, there's one limitation. Foreign investors cannot own lands or concessions and so on inside of 50 kilometers to the borders from Peru. Yeah, and it's a kind of security limitation, and only by government contract, by government permission, it's possible that foreign investors can own lands. It's a limitation also by indirect or direct owners. Yeah, at least no foreign investor can be owned directly or indirectly lands, concessions, and so on inside of 50 kilometers to the Peruvian border. Yeah.
Thank you all for your amazing answers. And now we have some questions coming from the audience with Mr. Philipp, please.
Thanks, Tamires. By the way, excellent job for the first timer. Really very professional moderation, yeah, and excellent contributions from this really very good panel. Yeah, we received already some very good feedback also from the audience. Let me go through some of the questions. We don't have so much time anymore. So I would say we have 8 minutes for landing. So I would start with Gabriele. Yeah.
Okay.
Gabriele, Chile used to be called the Switzerland of Latin America. That's what was actually also my speech always to the clients. This might have changed now a bit. Yeah. Will the country overcome these social problems? Politicians seem to be very focused on social issues currently. The COVID crisis has deviated the focus. Also, is it solved, or how you see the situation?
Thanks for the question. I think that's one of the major questions we are all focusing on. As I said before, Chile is at a crucial moment in its history, but I also mentioned that public and private sector are very much aware of the asset Chile has. Felipe, Victor, Orlando, you all mentioned the framework, the solid economic stability, the 30 years of democracy. This is an asset everybody is aware, most of the people are aware, that cannot be lost. You have to do what's necessary to move forward, to overcome the crisis of COVID. That's why the government, the executive power, has put into place various measures in order to alleviate such bad facts as would have been unemployment. I mean, now we are 13.3% unemployment. If those people who are now benefiting from a special deal and are not being unemployed will be unemployed under the overcome of the COVID crisis, that would be major difficulties for the country. So the executive power is very much aware. They're doing their best. We're at this week, people who live in Chile, like Felipe and Victor, are very much aware that we're facing a possible strike of the truckers due to the violence in
What happened? This is
the south of Chile. Okay. But the executive power is in discussion. They're open to discussion. We will then have the referendum. Then we'll have the anniversary of the social movement of the 18th of October. So of course, everybody knows and everybody's doing their best to move on and look after the asset that Chile has and how Chile is so different from other Latin American countries. Nothing is 100% certain, but I'm feeling, I'm hearing, I'm perceiving this big awareness that we have to move forward, we have to dialogue, we have to be open to dialogue with the different stakeholders of our society to achieve a major goal, to achieve more equality and assure the stability of the country. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Excellent. By the way, if it comes to trucker strike, Gabriele, if you need some benchmarks, we in Brazil are very, as you know, experienced with managing crisis. We had all this water crisis, trucker crisis. We had all this stuff already. So.
honestly, I just had a discussion this morning with a client, and we don't foresee the strike happening. It would be a major disaster for the public sector. They won't let it happen.
I hope that for you. That sounds like a positive outlook. Yeah. Okay, Norbert. He has a question regarding Peru. What can be a major argument for a logistic provider to start business in Peru under the actual conditions of this whole COVID scenario and the general environment, which has been directly here also outlined today?
Right. It's a very straightforward question. It depends if you're in sea cargo, air cargo, but what we have been seeing under COVID is that cargo itself was not affected. Even in air cargo, we have been seeing like a moderate growth, even in like sole freighters entering. Callao, our seaport, has been functioning all along. It depends on where in the supply chain that logistics company would be like active. If there's more specific question, feel free, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but feel free to write an email to me through Philipp or Tamiris. Basically speaking, again, as I said, like for the industry as well, I think 21 is a consolidation, and we will see which like industries also as their supply chains will like recover, where, what, and how. If you take a midterm view, I think you're good. Because we have a young population, we have strengths, and I believe taking like my view from the traffic perspective into the GDP development, I think the country will get back on its feet on a growth trajectory after the consolidation year, which is 21.
Excellent, yeah, and then I will, of course, we bring you in touch here, because it might be confidential venture here. That's why we didn't mention the person asking and the company involved. But of course, there will be a connection made to Norbert to go more in detail on this. And then another one I can mention who asked the question is our dear friend here, also German Chamber Presidency colleague here, Martin Duisberg from DZ Bank. He asked, "Hello Norbert." Or I do it in English, he asked in German, but hello Norbert.
Yeah.
I hope you're well. And how was doing this airport project in terms of, let's say, recent user numbers versus the 12 million that you have basically foreseen in the past? Is it on hold? What is the current situation? What can you share, Norbert?
Okay, it depends how you look at it. 18 million passengers we had around 2015. We were expecting this to happen for 2031. That was back in 2001. That was basically the success story that I was referring to, that we have been growing faster than expected back then. I don't know if it refers to this. 12 million is a number to moderate myself through 12 million, which I would hope to see next year. This year we had until March, mid-March, before we came into the lockdown. I mean, the airport was closed by government by 15th of March for the 3 months. We had already 4.5 million passengers. So we expect by the end of this year, potentially around 7. But it depends when the international traffic returns. So it's difficult to project this. So going forward, I hope that ceteris paribus on the on a good development that we may see maybe 10 to 12 million next year, but a lot of this depends of like when the governments within the region opening the traffic again. I for one would very much welcome an initiative by the Asis-Pacific in which we are starting to fly in the region. That would be a very helpful step forward.
Excellent, Norbert. I mean, we are now close to landing time, if you like, yeah, but I see almost 100 participants really actively still watching and participating, so I would take the 2 more questions. Yeah, little overdraft here. Hi, Antje. After mentioning all these challenges that you have outlined, also the colleagues from Peru, why should a German company invest in Peru? It's a very straightforward question. What's your answer, Antje?
Well, my answer is you have to look to the future because investments are a long-term project. And also after the COVID crisis, I think the Peruvian market will growing for the next decades, no? And so Peru is a market with a lot of space for new business. It's different to other markets in the region, for example, no? More consolidated like Chile. You can experience you can do experiments also with new business projects. And also it's interesting to know that we have very interesting profit margins in Peru. And so also the price level is lower than in other countries of the region. And the conditions for foreign investors are equal, no, to national. And so also we have it's also important because it's not normal for all countries in the region. You have free capital transfer. There's only one downside in this case that we have not yet a double tax agreement between Peru and Germany. Is the same problem has Chile too, no, Gabriele. So, but there are good conditions for long-term investment projects in Peru.
And the double tax treaty topic is, of course, also a very common topic in the region. In Brazil, I think that is been on for a long time talking, but I think I will personally not experience this anymore happening in Brazil. Well, our last one for you, Antje, then, and then we come to the closing remarks. Yes, okay. Now they're a bit worried. Okay, Peru, Chile. We have a lot of tension there. What we saw in Chile, the pictures. Can we expect something like this in Peru? And how do you see the next votes? I mean, what do you expect for the next votes? Well, you know, the crystal ball question, very clear.
In my experience in the last 6 years here in Peru, I could observe that Peruvian people have a very high level of resilience. No, in this critical situations we are living now, it has prevented social movements like in Chile, for example. No, so it's also important that Peru is a country which experienced a lot of crisis in the past, and so the people and companies learn to adapt oneself to new conditions quickly because there's not a social system, no? Like in Germany, for example, to contain them, and so they have to do something. They cannot stand still, no? Also it's interesting to observe how especially small-sized companies quickly are looking for new businesses, no? For new business opportunities to attend the new requirements of the market. For example, now you can see a lot of a very wide offer of protection equipment, no? For example, textiles, also for home office, no? And delivery services for all kinds of products and services in Peru. So the people are very busy to find out a new possibility to earn money, no? There's not time to protest. And yeah, and the crystal ball, it's difficult. But we have we expect for this year it will be a difficult situation also for Peru. Maybe the GDP will be minus 12 and more %. But for the next year, we are expecting a good growth, about 7 and more, I think more %. And especially the mining sector and also the agriculture sector, I think it's like a life insurance for Peru. No? We have to eat, and the mining sector also helps to earn helps to earn capital, no, for the country, no. And we have you heard about the big and the public investment program. It will help to leave the crisis, especially next year. So it's not so bad.
Excellent. I think we could continue like this for another hour or so. Yeah, we have still 100 participants watching and tuning in, which is really a good sign. Normally people are really back to back with meetings, as we know, and webinars. Yeah, so but this is really a nice sign. Thanks everybody for participating. Yeah, I think we all learned a lot about Peru and Chile today. And of course, any unanswered question, please contact Tamiris and myself. We will direct it to the panelists. Yeah. Well, see you soon then to the next South America webinar. We will do it in October. It will cover Argentina and Uruguay. Why only October? In September, we'll have our big Forum Global event. It's going to be this time fully digital. Yeah, it's our flagship event in our headquarters in Nuremberg. This time fully digital web conference from September 21 to 24. South America will be represented with 2 panels, and we're also going to have in September, we're going to be keynote speaker on an SAP event about digital transformation. I and my IT consulting manager Cristiano will speak there. You get all these invites if you subscribe to our newsletter, so please let us know if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, then we will gladly share those, save the dates with you. And last but not least, the system is very powerful. This GoToWebinar, it will automatically send you a survey. Yeah? We would really encourage you to take that 1 minute it takes to fill it out, because it helps us to continue to improve. The last kickoff event in Colombia had almost 200 participants, very good feedback. So we hope you at least could keep that high standard, yeah, here together. But I'm sure from the first speaker I received that it was really a well-received web conference as well. So again, thanks everybody for the panel, for the
Philipp, just one word.
Participating, and have a blessed afternoon or evening wherever you are. So bye-bye.
Thank you.